Welcome back, folks. Today we're going to take a look at the broadcast. I took a look at the broadcast, the update, governing body update number 2. And we'll take a look at that, look at our relief work, Jehovah's Witness relief work gap. That's what we're calling it, a gap. They have a gap in their relief work. They do relief work, but then they don't do relief work. They get other people to do, other organizations to do their relief work for them. Now, with the Jehovah's Witness religion, you would think with all the millions and billions of dollars that they take in annually. Now, they do take in annually billions of dollars. We've seen one report showing that back in 2001, they were rated one of the richest or most wealthiest corporations in New York, and their annual income was just short of $1 billion. That was way back in 2001. Now we're 24 years later. Their annual income is probably much, much greater. Now we'll take a look at Canada because we do have some figures here for Canada. We can use them as a basis to figure out how much money this organization makes. They are not a transparent organization. You cannot just go to their website or the internet and find out this is how much money they make. Unlike other organizations like the Catholics, the Mormons, they advocate how much they put into charity and how much money they're putting out. Jehovah's Witnesses do not. They throw a couple little figures in that I found, and we'll cover that together. But first of all, let's take a look at the broadcast. Today we have this guy. What's his name? Let's go right back to the beginning. Jacob Rump. He's one of the new governing body members, and he talks here about what they're doing in relief work. So they're going to talk here about California, and they sent a crew down to California for the wildfires, some relief work. So let's see if the little video that they put together for their people.
In our last update, we reported on various disasters that have affected our brothers and sisters around the world. In just the first 6 months of the 2025 service year, our brothers and sisters have been affected by over 100 disasters. But because of your generous donations to the worldwide work, so far for this service year, we've been able to spend over $6 million to provide relief. We thank all of you for your loving support. Of course, material assistance is just one way that we provide relief to our brothers and sisters. We also provide spiritual.
Now, I want to get you to remember that $6 million. That's what they spent for the whole year on relief work. $6 million. Does that sound like a lot of money to you guys out there? There was over 100 disasters. And when we think of religions are allowed to be charities. Jehovah's Witnesses, they're allowed to be a charity religion. This has been brought into question all over the world, in Norway. Here in Canada, the financial minister I ran a couple of videos here a few weeks ago. They were looking for information on how to cut charities, and charities that are not looking after the poor, are not helping the people. What about charities that don't even help their own, like these religious charities? So we have Jehovah's Witnesses. They have all kinds of people with poverty, with problems. What about them? What about they can't look after their own problems within? They don't look after their own people, their own congregants. What about that? And here's an organization that's pulling in over $1 billion annually. That's their annual income. That's the donations. People are donating that money, expecting that money to be used to help people, to help someone. That's what charities are all about. In Canada, we are bringing that into question because this charity is really not a charity. It can be brought into question. Let's take a look at this really quick.
encouragement and emotional support. This is highlighted in the following video about our relief efforts in the state of California in the United States. You'll recall that devastating wildfires erupted there in January of this year.
When you go through something like this, I don't know how to express it. It changes you.
Wow.
When someone loses everything, the process is overwhelming, and they don't know how to recover. They don't know how to walk through it. So when their recovery effort changes from a load for them that they can handle themselves to a burden for them, that's when the relief organization can help them carry that burden.
The thought in Isaiah 41:10, it says there that Jehovah really holds on to us. And this is something that we've been able to see come to life.
I'm a single sister, single mama. When I saw the relief team come in, that was Jehovah's hand to me to say, my people, I've got you.
Our brothers and sisters have gone through great loss, including even their own homes. And yet, while the physical needs are handled and helped with by means of the disaster relief arrangement, it's the spiritual needs that also need to be given attention to.
Jehovah has protected you in the most important way, because you have not lost your faith and you have not lost your relationship with God.
This is Jehovah's physical evidence that he loves you.
We send messages out to friends in the congregation. We need blankets, we need pillows, we need supplies. And within probably an hour, things started showing up.
I appreciate the friends that have taken us in and provided for us. That was so encouraging, so loving, and it brings you to tears.
You don't know exactly how it's going to work out, like you can't pinpoint everything, but you just know that Jehovah's going to take care of you.
Just get the sense that Jehovah is guiding us, and it's a unique privilege to cry with the friends, to hug them, to reassure them that when Jehovah says, throw your burden on me, he really means it.
He's always been real, but anytime you see his hand in a very real way, you just are naturally drawn closer to him. So it's a shame that we go through these kinds of events, but in every single case, every single person, from the victim to the person who provides relief, all draw closer to Jehovah.
So there we have it. There's the 2025 governing body update number 2. They're giving their people an update regarding they picked the California wildfires. They built a nice movie on it. We don't really know what they did there. Did they help the people? Did they build some new houses? Well, probably the building work will go on for some time. Now we're going to take a look at who pays for all of that. Does Watchtower actually pay for all of that? We're going to take a look at this quickly here. Now, I want to take you over to my other screen here. I was doing some research just to see relief work. What are they doing for relief work? It talks about all these various hurricanes, the relief ministry, the ministry of relief, how the work of Jehovah's Witnesses is financed. It's financed primarily from donations. They're pulling in the donations, but yet you notice in the video, you notice they were asking the people to supply pillows and stuff. So the people already donated for the work, but then they're going to the people for more money or for more support to do Watchtower's job. Now, what Watchtower is good at doing is making all kinds of videos. They have all kinds of little fluffy videos of relief ministry in Ukraine. Are you prepared for disaster? The devastating flood in Brazil. We ran an article on that where the Brazil newspaper caught Jehovah's Witnesses from inhibiting donations in that country going to help Brazil. All the donations were going to New York, and New York would decide what they're going to help Brazil with. And that's how they do it. Here's a disaster relief 2023. We see firsthand Jehovah's love. This is regions of Nigeria. They experienced some flooding. This was in 2022. 676 hectares were flooded. Now, it says that 7,000 publishers were displaced, 860 homes were damaged or destroyed, 90 kingdom halls. But here's what blows me away. Just over $250,000 US was spent. Now, one house in Canada would take up all of that money. So we know that that money is well, they're saying it's spent on repair or construction of damaged homes. They're calling home supplies, mattresses, mosquito nets, food items, rice, beans, and noodles. Now, think of that. 860 homes, $250,000. There's not a lot of money per home. And then you have 90 kingdom halls and an assembly hall that were flooded. Now, is this pretty well all donated labor? So they don't have to use Watchtower's money to cover any of that? But that's not a lot of money, folks, that they put into that country. Now, here we see firsthand in Jehovah's love in Chile. That was 2023, over 400 fires caused major destruction. Well, they had 20 homes were destroyed. And here they're bragging $200,000 was spent on the disaster relief. I wouldn't even want to print that. That would be embarrassing to print. 20 homes were destroyed. Reconstruction of these damaged homes, cleaning supplies, medicines, food, and water, $200,000. That's it. 222 publishers. Watchtower's not spending a lot of money, folks. Now, let's look at this one. Funding, one of the ways donations was sent to the branch office of Jehovah's Witnesses. They're used for relief victims of disaster. Since the work is performed by unpaid volunteers, the funds that are allocated go toward the actual relief work, not administration expenses. So Jehovah's Witnesses are proud of that. Do they assist? Let's look at the next article. Now here, this one shows that they spent 1.7 million US. So we're getting up there a little bit more money. This isn't a lot of money, folks. You got to think of this. This organization gets over $1 billion a year in donations, and we're going to show that to you just from the stats in Canada. How much money is coming into this organization? So you think of $1 billion a year, over $1 billion a year, and that's 2000. That's 2001 stats. That was an article that came out 2001. Just under $1 billion, 950 million back then. So let's say $1 billion, that's 1,000 millions. That's 1,000 millions. So here they got 1.75 million that they're putting out. And that's Hurricane Dorian, pummeled the Bahamas last year. 13 brothers and sisters piloted over 300 flight segments, delivered 15 tons of relief supplies, transporting more than 700 volunteer workers to the affected area. So that cost a bit more money. So that was that one. Now let's look at this other one, 8.5 million. Now we're getting into something where they're actually donating something. They're spending some money. This is Texas, the Hurricane Harvey. That was August 25th, 2017. So this is some old stuff. This is just off their website. 8.5 million. That's not a lot of money, folks. 8.5 million that they sent down there. There's 1,000 volunteers. 2,300 homes were destroyed. So 8.5 million is not going to go far in 2,300 homes. Let's just do the math. Okay, well that's $3,695 per home. That's all that works out to, 2,300 homes. So $3,695 per homes. That's not a lot of money. That's $3,000. You can't buy a whole lot when you come to fixing up a home. These are homes that were wrecked from the flood. So there was extensive relief construction work, and they had to complete repairs in 48 kingdom halls. So that's not a lot of money. 8.5 million again out of their big pot of $1 billion, over $1 billion. Some estimates are like $5 billion they have coming in. Now, they built a kind of a little brochure they like to put out to the public showing that they do all this relief work. But really, what are they doing and how do they do it? So this is a little 4-page book. This is what they give people. This is what they give the government people out there. It makes them look good. This is they show what they're doing in a few areas. And what do we have here? We have, relief. So I was doing some research here on the relief. I looked at the insight on the scriptures. Relief to widows should be limited to those not less than 60 years of age. And they get this from the Bible book of Timothy. It does say that in there, such widows were to be persons having a record of good works in advancement of Christianity. So Jehovah's Witnesses, when they do relief, they're going to want to give the relief to the people that are washing their feet. And it actually says that in the Bible. Okay, so we look at the scripture in Timothy. Let the widows be enrolled if she's not less than 60 years of age, having been a wife of one husband and having a reputation for good works. If she has brought up children, has shown hospitality. I like this point, has washed the feet of the governing body, washed the feet of the saints, has cared for the afflicted. So if you have washed the feet of the governing body, well, yeah, you might get looked after if you're a widow. That's what they're saying in their magazines. You have to be really in good standing to get any such help. Now, we think there's a lot of people that need help in the organization that are under 60, over 60, people that don't have any family. Now, the Bible says that families should look after their own. According to the Bible, the congregation is the family. And the congregation has to come up with support for those ones. Now, if everyone in the congregation is giving all of their resources over to the watchtower, but the watchtower is not letting the money out, how does that help? So people are giving all their money to the watchtower, but the watchtower isn't putting the money out into the field. They're keeping the money and then telling the people that they have to do more. And they'll quote this in 2 Timothy, and you have to use your own people. So let's take a look at this a little further and see what we can find. So when we look at Canada, Canada has a population of 41,000. There's 124,407 ministers. I'm going to round that off to 125,000 in Canada. And when we look at Canada, this is right from Charity Canada, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, Charity Canada. Remember, we showed this chart before. They have an X for financial transparency, an F for reporting, because they don't let the world know where their money goes. So, but they do have to do audits. All charities have to be hand in their taxes. Now, Watchtower, it says, is a 0-star charity with a low demonstrated impact. So this organization doesn't do anything with its money. And how much money does this organization have? Let's take a quick look at this. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Canada is not financially transparent. And the financial analysts, based on the CRA, that's our accounting in Canada, the tax department, the financial statements received, it talks about that. Let's just take a look at that. It says Watchtower is a major 100 charity, one of Canada's largest charities in terms of donations. So Watchtower is one of the largest here in Canada. And if it's one of the largest in Canada, it's going to be one of the largest all over the world. Now here in Canada, it received $95.2 million in cash donations, and this is back in 2021. That's all we have. We don't have the 2024 analysis. And Watchtower's administration costs are less than 2%. Well, that's because they have all of the donated work. They don't pay for any labor. And the charity does not report fundraising costs. For every dollar donated, 99 cents goes to the cause, which is outside the reasonable range for overhead spending, is what they're saying. So Watchtower's $96.3 million in funding reserves Once 11.5 million debts accounted for, and this compares with 27 million in previous years, 11 million in 2019. This is a 108 million increase, it's saying, in funding reserves over the past 2 years. And they can cover 330%. They can cover a lot of what's going on in Watchtower. So this kind of gives you a little bit of a spreadsheet. They send a lot of the money goes to New York. It goes outside of the country. And this little spreadsheet will show it here. Let's just take a look at it. One of the biggest complaints we have as taxpayers in any country is when donations come in from the people, they're not spent on the country. They're not spent there to help the poor. So this shows what's going on with Watchtower's money. According to CRA in the filing, Watchtower granted $27 million to other Jehovah's Witness charities. So they could be sending this to New York. They have to show where the money goes. It says, however, the charity's financial statements do not report this number. And of its total disbursements, $2.7 million went to the congregation support, which helps the congregation buy and remodel their buildings. And Watchtower spent $9.6 million to support charitable programs in other countries. So maybe they sent other branches some money to help them out. And it spent $10.9 million on international programs. So what's that all about? $10.9 million. Why isn't that money staying in the country helping our country out? Of which $8.7 million went to Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York. So this is what Charities Canada is pulling in. They're showing that this organization is making a lot of money. Now, if you do the math on this, 96 million, 125,000 publishers, each publisher in Canada is donating about $750. This would be Canadian. So let's do the math. So the math shows it's about $525 US a year for in Canada. This is how they're getting up to $94 million in donations, $525 a family US. So if we go around the world and we say there's 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses, and on average you're getting $525, let's just do the math, times 8 million. Now all of a sudden we have 4.2 billion in funding. That's what they have in donations if we base it on Canada. So there's a lot of money. We don't know how much of this is coming in. I'm just using the Canadian average to figure out how much money this organization is getting. Maybe Canada has more money than other countries. Maybe it has less money. I think it's pretty average. I think you go around the US, a lot of the affluent countries, now maybe some of the poor countries, they can't donate as much, so that'll change that. But they're well into the billions and billions of dollars. So this organization does have the money. What are they doing? When you're into billions and billions of donated dollars to help people, and they can't even help their own, it makes us wonder and question this organization. Now let's look at their elders book to drive this point home, and we'll show you what they are teaching their people. Just give me a second. Okay, I got the 2024 elders book pulled up, and I punched in relief, just the word relief. Let's see what comes up. Disaster relief. Well, this is about making an application. So you have to make an application if you want to go and help out with disaster relief. So they get all their members to give free labor. When Japan had problems, a lot of the members from Canada flew in at their own expense to Japan to help reconstruct some houses. This is how Watchtower is getting away with double dipping. People are donating all their time, money, and labor to go and help build these places, as well as they're getting on the average of over $500 US per publisher. And that's how they're getting so much money. They even have a set amount that they're asking per publisher all over the world every month to be pulled in. So, but people are donating. So if the service committee determines that an application is exemplary, they can apply for the disaster relief work, is what this is saying. Okay, so it comes up in safety conscious. Relief effort to arrive, so they have to be safety. What else? What's the next one? Okay, here's the one I wanted to show you guys. Provide ongoing and practical support. Remember, this is the elders' book. This is the book that trains the elders on how to deal with the congregation. So if you have, if the damage, this is about their relief work, if the damage was extensive or the relief effort will continue for weeks or months, elders should be alert to do the following. So they should identify the congregation publishers who could offer temporary accommodations. Now in Canada, we had fires, Fort McMurray, a lot of the people would come down and the government put them up in hotels. The government looked after the people. So the government's doing most of this work for the religions. Now they're saying put up people. So probably when Fort McMurray burned, Jehovah's Witnesses came down and stayed at other people's houses. That's probably what happened. Now, number 2, ensure the relief supplies are distributed. Number 3, accompany local design construction department. Number 4, here's the big one. Now, help publishers determine if they qualify. You see, you have to qualify. They don't help. They claim that they help everybody. They help even non-Jehovah's Witnesses, but they don't. You have to determine if they qualify for material assistance. And here's what they're doing. They're getting you to qualify through the government or social programs. So they want to get you to qualify for material assistance through the government or social programs, through personal insurance or some other source. So if your house burnt down, they're going to ask for your insurance. They'll come in and rebuild it, but they're going to take the insurance money. Therefore, they have an income coming in. They have some materials that they have to buy to get that house rebuilt, but they have all this free labor from their people. And when push comes to shove, they get the check from the insurance company. It's more money, way more money than they had to put out. So that's why when you hear of thousands of houses wrecked and demolished, Watchtower doesn't have to put out a lot of money. They don't have to put out a lot of money. They're taking the insurance program. And here it's in the elders book to make sure that they qualify for their insurance or some other source. Like the Watchtower is not saying come to us. They're saying go get help from some other source. They're even going on to say if a particular relief organization is in general of a religious nature, like the Catholic Church here in Canada, they do a lot of relief work, but funded by the government. What do? What does a Jehovah's Witness do? It says there is no objection to the publisher accepting humanitarian aid as long as they're not also accepting membership in the religious organization. So in the elders book, the faithful slave, the governing body, is telling Jehovah's Witnesses to accept humanitarian aid from other religions. They don't have a problem with it, as long as they're not paying for it. These other religions are going to pay for it. Take it. Take what you can get for free. This is how Jehovah's organization works. They are not providing humanitarian aid for all of their people all over the world. They're not doing that. They cherry pick a few locations. They can build a nice video on it and they go in and redo the houses and stuff like that, but they get insurance money. And they're not on the ground. They're not there at the time of the disaster, the time that the flood happens or the hurricane comes in. They don't have their kingdom halls open to the public. They don't have a lot of this stuff coming in. People have to relocate. They have to get a hold of other people in other congregations and go and stay with them, or accept humanitarian aid from other religions. That's what they're telling. And they say before they submit an application for such assistance, ensure the publishers understand what would be required of them after they receive help. So they don't want to lose their publishers. They go over to the Catholic Church and get some help. They don't want to lose them, so they want to give them the 1-2 on how not to get involved in their spiritual aspect. Just go and take their aid, is what they're saying here. It says these are personal matters for publishers to consider. Now it says help the LDC or Disaster Relief Committee to determine which publishers qualify. You see, not everyone qualifies. If you haven't been washing the feet, like we read the scripture in Timothy, like the widow that was over 60, you haven't been washing the feet of the governing body, well, that's figurative, of course, but if you haven't been giving them whole-souled worship, the Watchtower, if you haven't been worshiping the Watchtower whole-souled, you're not at all the meetings, you're not an active member in the ministry and all that, well, you have to qualify for the reconstruction assistance. So if you're a weak publisher, you're not out in service, you go to meetings every so often, you may not qualify for the reconstruction assistance from the organization. And this is based on the direction from the branch office. This is right down from the top. This relief isn't to help everyone, folks, and it's right in their elders book. So it says materials and supplies should not be sent to the disaster area. That's what they're saying, unless requested by the brothers. So you can't just send, in Brazil, you can't just send in stuff to help people out. They don't want that. They want you sending your money to the branch office, and then they donate very little. Like in some of these countries, 200,000, 250,000, and they have all these people donating all this money to the worldwide work, and it's not getting there. It's not getting there. So it says here, publishers shouldn't travel to the affected area to help out. They should all work through the organization. I think that's about it here. Orderly relief. I think we got it all covered, and publishers should not travel. So that's it. That's what we have. The big thing is they're telling you to go down to the Catholic Church or other humanitarian relief organizations that are on the ground helping people. So let's just take a look at what's out there. Let's take a look at the Catholic Church. Jehovah's Witnesses a lot of times like to be compared to the Catholic Church when it comes to clergy privilege. In court, Jehovah's Witnesses want to be called clergy because they want to have the clergy penitent privilege. In other words, they don't want to give up any information regarding CSA. And this is what they're fighting all over the world, just like the Catholic Church has fought. Now, let's look at the Catholic Charities just to see what other religions are doing. The Catholic Charity USA, it's a Caritas member. It's an affiliation of more than 160 Catholic charities. And their goal is to help people, regardless of their faith. So you don't have to be Catholic, just like Jehovah's Witnesses said. You can go down to their food bank and you can get humanitarian aid. Now, this is what their goal is, to help people regardless of their faith who are struggling with poverty or other complex issues. There's no age limit. You don't have to be 60 years old to be a widow or any of that stuff. They help everyone, just like Jesus would do. They serve more than 15 million people, while Jehovah's Witnesses only try to serve themselves, 8 million people. But the Catholics are out there serving everyone. They manage 2,692 food distribution sites. So could you imagine if JW.org had a food bank in every city? They had a food bank, and all the JWs went down there and they set up their street witnessing thing, their brochures, and then they have all donated labor in the food bank. They might even donate some food. Contributions from the society would go to buy food for the food bank and then hand that out for free to anybody that needs help. Well, that's what the Catholic Church is doing. Jehovah's Witnesses do not do anything like that. They don't go near that. They don't believe in distributing food to other people like other religions do. Now, the Catholic Church provided 116 million. These are some real numbers. Not 8.5 million, not 1.7 million, not 200,000, not 250,000, but 116 million in natural disaster aid. They built more than 34,000 permanent housing units for those in need, among other things. And they're the 11th largest charity in the United States, raising more than $4 billion in 2021. So that's what they're doing. They're helping people. This is they're helping the people on the ground. And this, I'm going to pin this article so you can look at it. But they have all kinds of things going on. Over 700 women and children annually and runs 3 maternity homes where expectant mothers can live, take classes, prepare for motherhood in supportive environments. Mary's Helping Hand, a brand new charity in Iowa, provides mothers with baby clothes and other items through the first year of a child's life. In Phoenix, Arizona, Maggie's Place provides housing for pregnant women, women recovering from addiction, substance abuse, counseling, support groups, and a variety of classes that cover everything from financial literacy to car seat safety. These charities and others like them provide all services for free of charge, and almost everyone, 9 out of 10 women and 8 out of 10 men, who utilize them considers the experience positive. So anybody can take that. You don't have to be a Catholic to do that. Now we're going to take a look. There's a lot of other stuff that the Catholic Church does. Now I'm just going to skim forward here. There's the Missionary Brothers of the Poor. They operate dozens of missions from India to the Caribbean, caring for those who live in squalor. People that have nothing. They help to rehabilitate criminals. There are over 4,000 Sisters of St. Paul of charters worldwide. They dedicate their lives to teaching, nursing, and visiting prisoners, caring for orphans and mentally ill. Jehovah's Witnesses don't have anything like that. They don't touch it. They send all their people down to the public health, and they go to the public hospitals to get whatever they need done. Public charities. There's all kinds of them. St. Mother Teresa's Missionary Sisters, more than 5,000, care for refugees, abandoned children, former prostitutes, lepers, people with AIDS, people that they're caring for people that no one wants anything to do with. And I think that's golden. Now, the Little Sisters of the Poor, they serve only the elderly poor in over 30 countries. That's what they do. So let's take a look down here further. What about the schools and the hospitals? Well, the Catholic Church operates more than 221,000 schools worldwide, serving over 62 million students in 38 countries, saving the taxpayer $63 billion each year. And they operate 6,429 schools. They serve nearly 2 million students, and this is in the U.S., and they save American taxpayers over, I got out of that article. They save the American taxpayers over $20 billion annually by operating all these schools. So that's a great thing to do with donations. Jehovah's Witnesses do not have anything like this. They do not help people out there. They hardly even help their own unless you qualify, unless you've washed the feet of the governing body. So here's another one. There's over 20,000 Catholic healthcare facilities around the world, including hospitals, health centers. The church also operates 85,000 social protection facilities, including orphanages, nurseries, nursing homes, hospices, and so on, making the Catholic Church the largest non-governmental healthcare provider in the world. So this is what some of the other religions are doing. I can go on, but it says, of course, the Catholic Church is much more than a mere charity. It's Christ's bride. That's what it says. That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses believe, that the governing body are Christ's bride. That's what they believe. And the Catholic Church, they go on to say here, the institution he established to share the gospel with the world, bring all people to faith. But to anyone who would accuse the church of being all talk and no action, let this article stand as a testament that it does indeed put its money where its mouth is. So that's all I have for you today. We took a look at Jehovah's Witnesses thoroughly. They're not spending the money on helping people. They're not on the ground. They'll do all their formulas and stuff and saying, yeah, this many houses is affected and this many, but they're not putting the money into the people. And they're telling their people in their elders book to go to the public places to get help, humanitarian aid. Go to even if it's a church, you can go get humanitarian aid. So that's what we have. We have this big, huge church Jehovah's Witnesses, who are one of the largest charities in the world, pulling all this money into its organization, holding all this money and just putting out little bits, 200,000 here, 200,000 there. And they're not going to every disaster. You don't see Jehovah's Witnesses on the ground at every disaster. And you see just little bits and pieces. And they're not transparent, and they do not put a spreadsheet forth or even brag about what they're doing, because they're not doing it. They have no bragging rights. The Mormons put out an article here. They put out $1 billion. They just give it out to charity. The Mormons did last year. $1 billion. That's 1,000 millions. And here Jehovah's Witnesses have 1.7 million and 8.5 million and 200,000 and 250,000 going to these little areas, which we know it would take a way more money to really help people. And then they get their people to qualify. You got to check to see if you have insurance. Do you have house insurance? It's going to pay us to fix your house up. You see, so they're going to monopolize. It's going to be a big money-making venture for Jehovah's Witnesses. It's no wonder they're not transparent. It's no wonder they don't want to show their spreadsheets, because they run this organization like a money-making business. And that's what it is. And like we've seen this month, they put out a fluff video about California, all the forest fires. They don't show really anything that they're doing. And they're just talking about, how they're there for all their people. So you tell me, you're out there, you're the audience, perhaps you've been in a natural disaster or an area. Is the Watchtower coming forth? Is the Watchtower putting their money where their mouth is? I say no. And that's why they're being challenged all over the world. This religion is not a religion, it's a real estate company that is all about making money, using religion as a guise, and using you as the people to work for free. No other religion does this except Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, folks, keep living your life with love. We don't get involved with this nonsense. We might go work at the food bank, help people out, but we're not going out there to make money and use religion to do it. And that's what Jehovah's Witnesses are doing. That's what this organization is about. So we'll leave it in your hands. You let me know in the comments if you figure this is a great organization and it's on the ground and it's helping all these people. Let us know in the comments. Last time I ran an article like this, people are telling me that they're not there. They're not on the ground. And it's no wonder, because the Elders book is very particular about who they're going to help. So we'll leave that with you, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye for now.